Welcome to the first episode of 6 Questions. Beast in Black is releasing their new album in the end of this month, Dark Connection, and these are very first 6 questions for Yannis Papadopoulos of Beast in Black. The band introduced their new album like this. Enter cyberpunk, flying cars, sprawling metropolis, valleys of neon lights, emotionless killers, gynoids, femme fatale, shadowy characters, lethal lust, forbidden passion, love larger than life, space travel. All this and much more is what Dark Connection holds within. And Yannis, if you compare to the older releases and singles, for example, One Night in Tokyo, it's totally different nowadays. So what was your first thoughts when Anton introduced this idea about cyberpunk or Eurodance theme?
Every time I get introduced to the new ideas that he has for every new album we're making together, like, always my first initial thought is like, okay, this guy is crazy. But then I'm getting on board quite quickly, actually. And I'm like, okay, yes, and then even sometimes I might add ideas on top, or we're just brainstorming sometimes, and that guy can somehow get you into his world, and it's like a trip, and even though I am an insider rather than an outsider, I'm inside the band, and still I'm getting excited when there's those new ideas coming and those new songs, and I'm always anxious in a good way to present them to the people, and I'm just always looking forward to the next crazy thing that he will come up with.
Yeah, and in general, I recognize some familiar Beast in Black stuff in this album, like the same sounds as in From Hell With Love album has. So, in general, how would you describe the differences between From Hell With Love and this new album, Dark Connection?
I think this album is quite more rhythm-based. I think that when it comes to drums, percussions, bass guitars, rhythm guitars, this album is more focused even on those things, and in a way it has a heavier punch. I'm not saying it's more heavy metal, because the orientation of the songs is maybe more or less the same, with a few exceptions that are actually heavier in my opinion. But I think that would be the main difference. Like, the main soundscape still has a Beast in Black sound, if you want to call it that way, but in general those would be the differences in my own ears and in my own opinion, how it's formed in my head. So take that with a grain of salt, I guess, because it always sounds different to every ear.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, when I listened to those tracks, so I think you had to use your voice more than ever. So do you agree, or did you have some struggle or any challenges with your voice this time?
To be honest, I have no idea at this point. I've been so invested in this album that I have no idea how it sounds to a foreign ear, to a third ear. If it sounds good, if it sounds bad. I am in total ignorance at this point. But what I do know for sure is that in every album, the amount of time that we take to track the vocals goes like this. I remember in Berserker, we had to do about 2-3 weeks of vocal tracking, and the whole album was done. I think that had to do because I was not here around so much. And then for the second album, From Hell With Love, it was about 1.5 months, or maybe 2 months, I don't remember really. And that was always between festivals, so we were recording in the weekdays, Monday to Friday or Thursday, and then for the weekends we had to play festivals on that year. That was a bit rough. But yeah, still I did everything in that certain time frame. And then in this album, I don't know what went on. I think the biggest thing is that because we didn't really have many gigs, I didn't have many ways to catch up with my voice. So it took me some time to actually get warmed up, to get back in proper recording shape. I think that's on me, and that took me some time. But even when that happened, still the process took so much longer, even though I don't know how. I think we went really hard on detail. In a good way, we went really deep into the details. And I think that's what took time. I think this album was like 3 months or 3.5 months of vocal recording, just purely, it was crazy. It was crazy. I really want to hope that this would be the max amount. Like, I don't want to put 5. I mean, I would, if it was necessary, put 5 or 6 months of vocal tracking, but I think it's a bit extreme.
Yeah.
After a point.
The voice sounded very extremely high and in many points.
Okay, well.
Yeah. Heard very powerful.
That's important to hear, because, as I said, I have no idea at this point how things sound.
Yeah, very high screaming, and it heard louder than ever.
Okay.
I think so.
That's really good.
It
That's
heard
really
like that, yeah.
Okay.
And actually, in my dystopia, I heard some Nightwish vibes. So, did you get some inspiration to those songs? Because at least the synths in the track sounded like Nightwish, in my opinion. Or
at least when I first heard the song, the intro and the middle part, there's just a middle part before the bridge, and those parts, to me, when I first heard them, I don't know if you know the artist. He has basically the same name as me, Yanni. He's from Greece, but he's basically made a whole career in America. And that guy composes amazing songs. One of my first artists that I ever came in touch with musically, when I heard, one of the first artists I heard. And that was the main vibe that I got from that song. And of course, there is a lot of the soundscape that is similar to Nightwish as well, like the orchestral parts, the epicness, some soft or lyrical singing, of course. So you could easily parallelize it to the Nightwish things as well, But it's very interesting that everybody will have a different take on how it sounds, To me, the first thing that came to mind was Yanni, because that's what I'm more familiar with. So everybody might interpret it in a different way.
all right. Yeah, and actually you will be starting your tour in November in Stockholm, but do you have some plans for next year, 22? Is it just touring, or do you have some other plans too?
At this point, I'm just speculating. First of all, because still the situation with the virus is constantly under new updates, and it's not steady or under control yet. And but if I were to speculate, I would just assume touring, because the album is just coming out, and I would really want to personally to tour as much as possible, because, well, I think everybody has missed it, and now a third album is a great opportunity. Like, you have now such a bigger catalog that you can just expand from that, right? So you can use so many different songs, and you can even switch them up. You can really do many things when you have 3 albums at your disposal. So ideally speaking, I would like to tour for the whole next year, basically, and who knows what else time brings us. Hopefully. Yeah.
And now, because when you start in Stockholm in November, so can you give us some tips or reveal some? Is there some new surprises? Will be there something else than new tracks, of course?
There might be. I can't.
There might be.
And I literally can't. It's not like I won't, but I literally can't, because even I am in for some surprises. Like, there is some things going on that I don't know yet, but I know that they're going on in the background. I know that they're being processed as we speak. So I'm sure it will be quite a fresh Beast in Black image on the stage. That's what I know for sure.
All right.
So
yeah,
let's see about that.
Yeah, but hey, Yannis, thank you very much, and we'll see you sometimes next time. So cheers.
Thank you.